Hello and welcome to Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Colred. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be about how to complete a champion training tournament. Now, you might say, well, that seems pretty simple enough, but there is a method that most of the community uses some variation of to make these tournaments a lot simpler, more efficient, and to spread out the resources a little bit so it's not as demanding on your time and energy resources. So the first thing that we need to know is how do you get points in a champion training tournament? So we're going to jump in here and we're going to look at this one. Now, this particular champion training tournament is part of the Emic Trunk Heart Fusion event. So if you are doing that event, this guide will definitely help you complete this tournament. However, if you are watching this video months later at a different time or whatever, this method is going to continue to work. It'll work whether you're doing a fusion here and you're completing this tournament for a fusion event, or whether you're just doing champion training for a regular tournament or a regular event during your week to try to get extra resources. So the first thing that it says up here at the top of the leaderboard is it says earn points by ascending champions, leveling them up, upgrading their ranks, and using skill tones. What you should know right away is that the bulk of your points is going to come from leveling and promoting champions. You will get a few points from ascending champions, you'll get a few points from using skill tones, but I primarily don't do those two things during champion training tournaments. I usually save those for CVC events. But if you do have champions that need to be ascended or need to be booked out, you can, get those done during a champion training tournament and you'll get a few extra points. Now, in order to see the actual points, just click here on info, and it's the top two boxes that we really care about here. So the first chart tells us how many points we get based on a level upgrade for a certain star champion. So if you have a 4-star champion, you will get 3 points per level that you upgrade that champion. So if you take them all the way from level 1 to level 40, you have upgraded them 39 times, right? And 39 times 3 is, I think that's 117. You get 117 points for leveling up a 4-star champion all the way. That's a decent number of points, because if you look over here on the right hand side of this column, we need about 5150 to get our 25 fragments for this fusion event. If you're not doing this during a fusion event, you will have a different reward system over here on the right. Maybe you're going for the epic tome all the way at the top. So what you can see is 7,500 points, and we're getting over 100 points leveling up a single 4-star. So that's pretty good. But that tells you exactly how many 4-stars you would have to level up to totally max out the reward column here, right? So, okay, let's go back to the info, look at the second part. The second part is getting rank upgrades. And as you can see, you get a nice little chunk of points for upgrading a 3-star to a 4-star, 4-star to a 5-star, and so on and so forth. Obviously, in both cases, you get more points for the higher star levels than you would for, 1-stars and 2-stars. Okay, so knowing that we have to level up our champions to get points, now we have to decide where we're going to do that leveling. The most common choice is stage 12-3 Brutal Campaign. So I'm going to click on here and we'll go over to stage 12-3. Now, what you should know about 12-3 is the reason this is the most common place people farm campaign is because it is the best combination of XP and silver. You get more silver for selling a shield than you do for selling any other artifact of the same, rarity and tier. So a 3-star common shield will sell for more silver than a 3-star common helm. Okay, so that's why people usually use stage 3, even though stage 6 yields a little bit more XP. Another thing you should know here is, strangely enough, and I don't quite understand this decision, the boss stages give the worst XP in the entire chapter. So don't do stage 12-7 thinking you're going to get more XP because it's a boss. You actually get less. You will have a chance of better loot drops, but basically you're never caring about the loot drops once you're into the dungeons. If you get to like dungeon 7, you're going to get stage 7, you're going to get better drops than you would get here. So only farm the boss campaign when you have the daily quest to do the boss campaign. So if you can't do 12-3 Brutal, you may want to think about doing 12-3 Hard. And the reason that that is true is because the XP doesn't actually catch up with the difficulty until you are in chapter 10. So you have to get through chapter 10 before the brutal XP catches up to the hard campaign XP from 12.3. So 12.3 is better at hard than anything except 10, 11, or 12 from brutal. And likewise, as you go up to nightmare. Nightmare is another area that you could farm if you have a good nightmare campaign farmer, but that is a little bit tricky, especially if you are an earlier game player. I never farm nightmare. I always farm brutal, and it's plenty fast enough and efficient enough for me to take advantage of that and gain a lot of benefits. All right, now let's jump into the tavern, because this is the other place you're going to be spending a lot of time during a champion training tournament or event. So one of the things that you may have noticed is I wasn't leveling up all of my champions to level 30 in the campaign. In fact, what happens is you don't get a perfect amount of XP to hit that cap level for any of the star numbers. It doesn't matter if you're using 2-star champions, 3-star champions, 4-star champions. You never hit the perfect amount of XP to cap out a champion. So typically you want to stop one level short. Now, you don't want to stop at the beginning of, say, level 29 on a 3-star champion. You want to make sure that you're getting close to finish, but then you want to stop and you want to come over here to the tavern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort this by level, and you'll see I have a level 29 3-star. Now, if you look at the bottom here, this XP bar, he's only 1,000 points shy of level 30. A 12.3 brutal run would grant about 8,000 or 9, somewhere between 8 and 9,000 XP per run. So I would be throwing away 7,000 XP. 7,000. I would be throwing away 7,000 XP if I ran that 12.3 brutal one more time. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my level 29s over here to the tavern, and I'm just going to drop one common champion onto that level 29. And you'll notice this is 1,600 XP. So I'm throwing away about 600 XP, but that's a lot better than throwing away 7,000 XP. This is one of the ways I use my common champions to my advantage. I don't want to just throw away energy and XP. I want to be as efficient as possible, and this is one additional way to do that. Let's max that guy out. Great. Now what I want to do is I want to upgrade Hound Spawn's rank. So I want to promote him from 3-star to 4-star. Now the most common way to do this, people just go here, and they might throw chickens on this champion, but you don't want to do that. And they might go here and say, throw a bunch of level 1 food champions, right? They'll do that. Also a bad idea. What you prefer to do is use champions, but you don't want to use level 1 champions. Remember, you get points for leveling your champions. These 3-star champions are sources of points that if you just consume at level 1, you are throwing away. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my food champions, and I'm going to start to level them using brews. So I'm going to use this common line infantry that I've upgraded to 3 stars. I'm going to use him as food to promote some other champion from 3 stars to 4 stars. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come up to the top, and I'm going to drop a brew on this champion. Now you can decide how many brews you want to drop on this champion depending on how many brews you have and how much how many points you need to get for the completion of your tournament. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to drop 1. That would take me to level 10. That's pretty good. That's 18 extra points, right? So if I click there, you can see I'm going to get 18 points because I've leveled him up 9 times. However, I'm actually going to drop 2 potions on this guy, and I'm going to take him to level 15. The second brew doesn't give me as many points, but I get an additional 10 points. Okay, so typically when I am running up 3-star food champions, I take them up to level 15 with 2 brews, and you'll see that grants me 28 points. So for every single 3-star I turn into 4-star, I have 3 food champions I can get 28 points from. That is an additional 88 points. Okay. So in addition to leveling up that 3-star all the way to 30, in addition to the points I get from promoting it into a 4-star, I can also get points out of its food. Okay. And this is the primary use for brews in this game. You don't want to necessarily use brews to level up your champions. Like you might get a new 6-star champion and you're like, hey, I want to level it up all the way, and I drop, several hundred brews on it. You could do that, or you can save your brews for champion training tournaments and use them on your food champions and then win those tournaments very easily. Not necessarily win, but succeed at those tournaments very easily. Okay, like I said, a lot of people are doing this. So the only way to win a tournament is to do this a lot. And now I can go ahead and go to the upgrade rank tab, pick my 3-star champion that I wanted to upgrade. And now you can see right here, I have the level 15 3-star food champions, and I go ahead and upgrade Hound Spawn, and I get 50 points from the promotion. Now, let's say Hound Spawn is going to be food. Let's say I'm not going to level him up all the way to 40. Now, for 4-star champions, I like to drop 4 brews. This is just my personal system in terms of the number of brews I drop. Every single content creator that you watch uses this system, but they drop a different number of brews. So like I said, you can decide which number of brews is going to work best for you. So I like to drop 4 brews on a 4-star. I drop 2 brews on a 3-star, 4 brews on a 4-star, and then I drop 8 brews on a 5-star. That's typically what I do. But you can choose what you want to do. Some people even drop brews on 2 stars. I do not. I use 2 stars at level 1 and I just feed them. But you can even squeeze some more points out of there by dropping 1 brew on a 2-star. Now you'll notice I got 60 points for leveling up this champion that I would otherwise lose if I just fed it at level 1. And that's basically it. That is the whole method. You are going to level up champions in campaign. You're going to get them to their max level 20, level 30, level 40. Remember, you want to stop 1 level short and then maybe feed some common champions into them, some 1-star champions into them to max them out. Then you are going to make sure you give brews to your food champions. So you get some points there. Then you promote the champions and you keep doing that. For a champion training tournament, like I said, you need 551 points, but just what we did right now basically got me 250 points or something like that, over 200 points with those couple of champions. So you can see if you've collected brews and if you've really saved those up, and if you have some champions who are already ready to be promoted and then leveled up, you're going to be able to kind of do these champion training tournaments in bursts, right? If you have to grind campaign for the duration of the 4-day tournament here, that is very tedious. It's very difficult. It uses a lot of resources. So generally what I like to do is I like to save up champions and then do kind of a burst at the beginning of the tournament, and then also do a burst at the end of the tournament to try to close it out. So as you can see here, if we're back in the tavern, I've got a bunch of 2-star champions ready to be promoted. I have a bunch of 3-star champions ready to be promoted. I even have some 4-star champions, some of which are not food, most of which are not food, but a few of which could be food. And so, these are ready to go to give me a whole bunch of points right at the beginning of the tournament. Then in the middle of the tournament, I will actually level up some more food champions. I'll run campaign for a couple of reasons. One is I want the silver that might happen. Like if I'm doing a fusion event, I'll run campaign to also grind silver that I'll need for artifact enhancement events later on. So this is a good way to get a mix of, experience from brews and some of your experience from campaign and energy. So, while you're not in a fusion event, you want to probably be leveling up champions every little once in a while. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch every day, but I try to do at least 1 major push a week to level up these champions, because remember, this fusion event will end, and then 2 weeks from now, a new fusion event will start. So in between those 2 weeks, I like to get all of these food champions leveled up and ready to go. Okay, so if this was too much information, or you're not 100% sure that this was the most efficient version of this method, I do have a website resource for you, and we can go look at that real quickly. This is a yumilove.net. I will put a link to this website in the description of this video. And a yumilove.net is a great place for you to go and find Raid Shadow Legends resources, guides, all sorts of stuff. So just down here in the right-hand column, you can see there are Raid Shadow Legends useful guides, and at the bottom, there is a raid tournament event guide. So I'm going to click on that. Now, this is basically a written version of the guide I just gave you. It's a little bit different in terms of the details, in terms of like how many brews you want to use or how many runs you want to do in terms of campaign farming. But it's basically the same setup. It has the same general principles. So you can go ahead and read through this. You'll also notice there are other guides here for other types of events and tournaments. So if you don't have a good video, let's say from me or another content creator, to explain a particular event, you can come here and just read through this guide. It's got a lot of good information, and I think that this website is one of the best resources in the Raid Shadow Legends community. Okay, so that is the method for completing champion training tournaments and events. Now, this is the community accepted method. Now, obviously, you can use the ayumilove.net version. You can use my version here. You can watch another content creator's video on this particular method and use that version, whichever version that you like, or make up your own version. But remember, the two things you want to take away from this are that you want to use something to level up your food champions and get points onto your food champions before you consume them. And the other thing is, take these various tips on how to be as efficient as possible with the resources that you do have. I have two last tips in that regard to be efficient. And the first is go ahead and invest a little bit into your Guardian Ring. You will eventually want to unlock all 5 of these slots. You don't have to do it right away. But if you have the gems available to you and you're not worried about those gems for the fusion event, you can start unlocking these slots in the sparring pit. Don't take them up. You can see you can level them up to 3 ranks. Keep them at rank 1. You don't need to level them to rank 2 or rank 3. Rank 1 is by far the most efficient in terms of the value of the gems that you're putting in. Each additional rank costs more and gives you less. So the first rank is really where you want to be. But whether you're in a champion training tournament or whether you're between champion training tournaments, like you're between fusion events, this is a good way to level up champions. You're going to passively get levels that will give you XP for the tournament, give you points for the tournament. This is also a great way to get, 2 stars to 20, 3 stars to 30, and then throw them in the vault and wait for a champion training tournament to come, and you'll have your food already prepared. Or not your food necessarily, but your max level food prepared. The second tip that I have is actually that you can still squeeze a little bit of XP out of other areas of the game, not just campaign. The only fights that you do not get XP for are clan boss fights, Doom Tower fights, and arena fights. Everywhere else in the game, I think, pretty sure, you will get XP if your champions aren't maxed out. So one of the things that I do is I'm running the dungeon tournament, the Dragon Dungeon tournament right now. And what you can see is instead of completing this with 5 leveled up champions, max level champions, I'm doing it with 4. I might even be able to do this with 3 or 2. In that case, what you want to do is throw in food champions into those extra spots. So as you're doing your dragon tournament and as you're doing your dungeon divers event, you are also doing champion training by getting some food champions leveled in this manner. Okay, so that is the absolute last tip I have. I hope you have found this video helpful. Whether you are doing the fusion or you're going to do a fusion in the future, or maybe you just want to pick up a champion training tournament somewhere along the line for some extra resources. If you have any question on this method, feel free to put that in the comments below. Also, if you found this helpful and you're looking for more guides on how to complete events and tournaments, especially for this Emek Trunk Heart Fusion, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because we will continue to put out content on those topics over the course of this week. All right, that is it for me. I have been Colred. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in another video soon.